I just got done trying to type into the Skype window with somebody and argue the fact that Fibonacci, for all intents purposes, is a complete pile of shit. It's totally worthless. Did I just say that? Yes, I did. Thank you very much. And I'll show you why it's completely pointless, worthless, and a total pile of mental shit you don't want renting in your. You don't want to rent that shit in your head. Okay. What causes the market to go up and down? And I will once again post at the bottom. I hate to sound like Greg Marino. I will once again post at the bottom. The fucking auction trader guy who's humble as a fucking beat up, warrior. And I will also post, there's two guys. There's a guy who's like as pissed off as me about constantly hearing about this fucking shit. Now, this is going to be an X-rated video because I'm so pissed off about hearing this and seeing brainwashed traders. So I just talked to a guy who's been brainwashed by Charles de Gaulle or some fucking guy. Poor guy's dead. I can't even tear apart his bullshit because I can't get the thing to capture. He's got this bullshit about, well, 75% of the market's run by high-frequency traders. Who cares who's fucking running these markets? I'm making money, okay? I'm trying to tune this thing up. I thought we were going to trade together, and now the guy's like, oh, well, I can't see the charts. Listen, I'm not going to waste my time. You want to trade or you don't? I'll move on. I can trade my own account. I'm not trading other people's money. I'm not selling services, but I'm going to tell you why Fibonacci is stuck in people's fucking frontal lobes. Here's the big fucking myth of life. I'm also going to tell you the myth of life. That it's some kind of picket fucking fence and everything's perfect. What the premise of Fibonacci is based on the golden ratio that's in nature, and the preposition, I'm supposing for most people, they're presupposing markets are natural phenomena, therefore, if I put the Fib tool on it, I will be able to read Mother Nature's behavior. If the market is crowd behavior, which it fucking is. I don't give a fuck about the banks, the retail traders. Another thing this guy said, this totally pisses me off, and I can't even talk to him. So I'm going to tell him through this video. He's going to watch it, take no offense. And this guy, you can take some punishment. I'll tell you right now, we're not trading against. I had another guy tell this to me, well, the guys that, everybody just went short this. I get that you want to be contrarian against the retail traders. You think the retail traders are losing money. And when you see a big order coming, you're going to go with the big boys. He also sent me a video on market profile and this whole balance area bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit all day long, because if you look at the things, you never see people go, well, this would call for a buy limit. This one you're going to get in the market. This one is, and how big are you going to get in? The question is, how big are you getting in these ideas? It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking, size matters, okay? It doesn't matter whether you can call the direction of the market. And even if you knew where the fucking market was going, if you're in too big, they're going to stop you out. They're going to trounce you. I don't give a fuck. It's so stupid. It's so retarded. You just want to, it could gag a maggot, this logic. It's not logic. It's, oh, well, the big boys. Fuck the big boys. They're there to create liquidity for us so we can get in and out of these fucking markets with a certainty of a fill. I don't think people understand, okay, in the olden days, I used to put orders in the soybean meal pit, and they wouldn't fill. I'd see it on my screen, and I'm like, holy fuck, I hope they didn't fill me. And this is fucking terrible. I called there in panic one day, and I said, well, I saw it bid through my order, right? But maybe the spread was too wide. I couldn't see the spread on my screen. All these markets, you're looking on MetaTrader right now. You see my fucking screen. This is real time. This is Hot Forex out of Cyprus. Okay, what makes the market go up and down? I'll get back to reaming out Fibonacci in a second, and Gartley and all that crap. It's about, and I said in my other video, go back and look yesterday where to fucking sell this market. Where's the sell? I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart right now, people. I'm going to show you the biggest secret you'll never hear about Forex. Has nothing to do with fib handles. I said last fucking night, you can go back and look. Where's your sell limits go, people? Just beyond this is a 5 pip window. Okay? You start selling here. These are 10 pip handles. Does anybody get what's going on here? This is an auction bid to the top side. Whether I can get out a fib tool and play fib mind games on this fucking thing doesn't have anything to do with the price of tea in China. It's going to fuck your head up. It's going to cloud your decision process. You're not going to be able to follow the order flow. Order flow is following the market. Can I take this on close? And if you are going to use fibs, put them on close. But I'm going to show you right now. It's complete and utter bullshit. Do I hang it off of these swings or do I hang it off of these swings? If I hang it off the 100 here and I calibrate it to here, can I say, oh, look, wait for it. Oh, we're right at the 6. But for God's sakes, man, think about this shit rationally. And oh, you're doing it wrong. Some fucker's going to say you're doing it wrong. Oh, let me put it on the wicks. See if that's a better fit. Oh, look. Oh, look, it called this at the 618. But dude, if you got a 10 pip stop, you didn't ride that train. Who rode that fucking train? And this guy is telling me, this Charles, oh, you got to see this guy. And poor guy's dead, but he had his head up his ass, okay? Just because he's dead doesn't mean he didn't have his head up his ass, and doesn't mean he didn't make money. Did the guy that bought here on this fractal breakout with a stop here make money? Did he make this much money? Fuck yes. How much money could you have made if you would have realized there's stops sitting here? Retail traders, I don't give a fuck if they're bank stops. Who the fuck cares? You're buying this shit with a stop here to make this much when you sold up here. Stop with the fibs. I get the fib for risk to reward ratios. It's good for that. Build your trade plan off it. Somebody asked me about that, a guy from France. Okay, this is no offense to people that have been conned into thinking that if the girl is wearing a certain type of clothing, she's driving a certain type of car, she's a certain type of person. This is no different than you landing. Can we all agree, and I wrote this down because I was so fucking frustrated. Can we all agree that the Forex market is another planet onto itself? Can we agree with that? Now, can I ask you something? Whether you live in Metricville, Germany, or you live in Inchville, which is the United States, if you were to go to this other planet called Forex, and you were a repairman, and you showed up with your tool set, and his argument to me today is, well, the Fibonacci ratios are a tool. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to prove this whole thing. As long as it takes me, I'm going to show you nature has its own, nature has Fibonacci's. Yeah, if I forced my fib tool on this, and they're going to show up just like Gartley's every now and then with that fucking elaborate Fibonacci matrix going on the Gartley. It's like I'm buying right now, right? Why am I buying the market right now? And I'm going to go tangential sidetrack and show you why I'm buying right now is because don't forget, somebody has a stop. I don't care if it's a big boy, a retail guy. You see this wick? Do you see how you should be long and scalping out right fucking now? My God in heaven, if you want to make money, this is how you do it. Okay, so I'm asking people, if you land on this planet, and your job is to fix shit, and you open up the hood of a car, if there's a hood of a car on another planet, now watch, this is where the sell limits would go if you're going to sell. And you can see you're taking profits right now if you're a scalper, and you see tops become bottoms on these fractals. Whether this is a fib fractal or not, it doesn't fucking matter. You show me, I showed you, I made money last night trading this goddamn thing, right? Real time. I didn't use no fib because you can see what's going on here. There's stops here. If they trigger and fill, they will fuel an automatic uptrend because they're either algorithmically laid by robots, and robots are programmed by people. Does it have to be any more fucking clear? Now, when you land on this planet and you break out your toolkit and you have the metric and the inches, and the guy goes, well, actually, we don't have anything like that. We have star wrenches, and it's not metric or any of that shit. The question is, did it matter whether you brought the fib tool and the Gartleys with you? Being the Gartleys, the inches, and or the Lucas numbers. Let's not forget about Lucas numbers, people. I was in a room, and I'm not kidding you when I tell you this straight out. I've never told this story before, ever. I am sitting there in this room with a guy that wrote a book about the Lucas numbers, who's also into trading based on the planetary alignments. And we've all been on dates with women based on their horoscope and, you know, their axe murderers. So how's that helping? The guy says, and this time I had a line chart fetish like you can't believe. I just said, dude, it's all about the line chart. And I got the idea from Andrew Cardwell, who had RSI based on clothes. And I said, look at these triangles. Can you deny these triangles? No, you fucking can't. Can you deny this trend line we just broke on the euro dollar? Do you want to make money? You want to be long before that trend line break. That's your confirmation to hold through this drama. Yeah, you can get a fib tool out, but this is like you saying, well, you know, I always have. You're on another planet. You go with the terrain of that planet. You place your orders based on when you build a bridge. I did a metaphor about the bridge being the trend. When you build a bridge, or being the big movement, do you build your bridge to the contour of the terrain, the topography of the land that you are the hand you're dealt? Or do you get out a fib tool and say, well, we only build bridges that are 618 because it's structurally sound? Guess what? Maybe the area that you're in, the nook and cranny of real Mother Nature, of what the market really, really, really is a fib upon a fib upon a fib. So I asked this guy earlier, well, is the fib on the 5 minute the same as the fib on the 1 hour? No, obviously not. So what's the fucking point? What is the fucking point? You're picking fly shit out of pepper, people. Step away from the fib tools. I'm probably preaching to the choir if anybody's ever traded, won and lost money and said, how did I just make money? What the fuck happened, right? So I'm debunking chemtrails and fib tools at the same time. Now, on this other planet, what if they don't use either? And so I also have this kind of like, supposedly this guy is using the fib tool to fade the retail traders because, you know, retail traders lose, so I'll trade against them, blah, blah, blah. Listen, this may be a real breakout here. You see what's going on right here? I'm long. I'm long until we get to this 10 handle, and whether I get out of that and out would depend on how big I'm in. And if you can't see these market structures, then you can't see what an auction is. It's taking it to the edge when, and I don't understand how this guy's not getting it, because you have to see that where the fear and the pain is in these markets. Not to mention here, just structurally speaking, forget fib, and I'm going to delete the fib off here before I start to spit up in my mouth a little bit, is what is more important than the fib is the tempo of the market, the drumbeat. The tops become bottoms on a specific time frame, whether it's 4 hour daily, 8 hour, it doesn't matter. You can build a 6 minute chart if you have a 6 minute chart fetish. It doesn't matter. It's always going to work on every time frame. The only thing that's getting in your way is the spread and the order placement. How do you place these orders? Well, if you had placed your buy limit here, you may not got filled. The only time you got filled on placing your orders here is because the market bobbed down here. Do I need to explain? We retested within a half a pip here. The entry here was the buy limits. But you're not going to get that price because that's the bid. The ask was above that. So you have to have your buy limits in here on this head and shoulders bottom on the 5 minute to get filled. And that's what fueled the move up. That's what fueled the move up. There is no conspiracy against you if you're a dumb fuck. You're just a dumb fuck. You didn't get it. You see this top become a bottom? You couldn't see this? This was the scalp today. You could have placed that order and gone off and raped 5 women. You still would have made money. As immoral as you are in your, and I don't know, I guess I don't let people, when I go off on a rant, I'm on the phone with somebody, I guess I think I'm doing a video, so it's not fair. They're like, are you done? And I think they're getting what I'm saying, and they go, oh, I'm with you, man, I'm with you. Forex is, anything can happen in these markets. Well, but the market is, if the market's a wild animal, it's going to return to the seam of crime. It's going to return to the feeding area. Where is this market feeding on? If you go to the 1 hour chart, is it not painfully obvious? And can you do it without the aid of a stupid crutch like the fib tool? It's a fucking crutch. At some point, you got to take the training wheels off. Yeah, you might have made money on that shit. I'm tell you what matters more right now is the last known bottom on the 1 hour and who's going to come in here. The people that fucking bought there. And that's going to cause selling. It's not because it's an extension of it's not. You're putting that on there because you have a fantasy world like these Stapletons. You live in a fantasy world of proportions and beauty. The market's a fucking train wreck. Get used to it. Where do people, and there's a guy, I'm going to also publish the guy named, I can't pronounce his name. It's his N Privia or something, Navivia Privia. This guy tells it like it is. He says, where is your stop? If you're buying, let me guess, like you can guess any retail trader's stop entry, I get it, but the idea is to place your order. You can see the losing trades, but you can see what fuels the market. And this is dynamic. Because we're on the 1 hour chart right now, doesn't mean that game wasn't played down here. If you had a buy limit at support Ola, and you had a buy limit here, you didn't get filled on this maybe because the ask wasn't tight enough on your broker. But you can see the window, right? In an auction situation, it's about getting unfair value, trapping, bringing it back to, it's called, the guy in the video, the auction guy describes it. It's called when the market goes pro. In other words, not only does it come back to this bottom, this is supposed to be where the sellers come in. I moved to Canada. The sellers come in on the double bottom. Guess what? It don't know work is so good. Then it comes to fair value. And who sells here at this top? Oh, they're like, well, who sells here? The people, the ride's over. See, the doji was caused because people sold here. Then they're like, well, let me rethink that. Then they get a top bottom, and this is on the 1 hour chart, so it looks the same pretty much on everybody's broker, but there's a slight, it's a 10-second difference on some brokers. This trend line here, this inflection point, I described this yesterday. Why does buying come in here? Because it's a pivot. It's a popular price. Why are we here now? Could we tank down? Yes. Do you have a trade plan for that? That's the question. Do you have a way of getting on these things? And can you see what's fueling it? It's not the fibs. And it's not people trading against retail traders because they're like, well, I heard a guy once, another guy who's dead, say, well, trust me. Oh, there's a guy sitting in, you kind of picture this thing like if you believe in God, that God's standing up in the sky going, you're a bad person. That there's a guy with his arms folded and he's looking at the MACD Classic 12-26-9. He's got his arms folded. He's on a 1 hour chart. He's like, he goes, I think those retail traders are just about ready to buy this divergence. Let's fuck them. It's impossible. Does that mean that there's multiple guys with their arms folded on the half hour, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the different MACD that the other retail trader tweaked? And he's still getting his ass kicked? Why is he getting his ass kicked? He hasn't accepted certain dynamics in the market. The market can be still for 20 pips for 20 hours, and it can explode and create an emergency, which is an emergence, which is a rising where everything's nice and calm, and all of a sudden there's an explosion. Let me just bop into this topography. If you treat the market, if you look at this market as you're looking for these Fibonacci, this Fibonacci bullshit. What's more important? This trend line here on the 1 hour? Like, what's more important? This trend line right now? That you think we're going to keep going down? Well, can I get a show of hands? How many people think we're just going to still keep tanking down and keep going down, 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 down? And I should sell here because it's a good idea because I just got a bottom becoming a top. You see where the scalpers bailed right now? You see why that ricocheted off that wick? This is what it's about, price. I'm going to break everybody's Fibonacci heart. I know I'm going to. It's about price over time. Had you bought here, and if you're the bank, you don't trade with stops in margin. You're the fucking market, right? And so I get the idea of people like, oh, if you want to do what the big boys do, don't trade with stops. Don't trade with high margin. The retail trader has the advantage. Can't people see that? You're at a party with movie stars. Money's rubbing off on you. But you don't. It's like the guy says to me on the chat window. He says, "When I see the 200K orders come in, I go, wait, they're going based on volume." Why are you babysitting these fucking trades? Can we all see? Can I get a show of hands? Can anybody see this end of this wick? Can anybody see the end of this wick? And I'm talking primarily of these 3 wicks. Does this look like a good place to buy low? Could there be stops of any kind? Retail traders, hedge funds, whatever. One thing professional traders have learned, it's a buy low, sell high game. That's just how it is. And the idea that these algorithms are written by the finest robots in the world were programmed by, it doesn't matter. The robot has stops here. And that's what's self-triggering, and this is why this is a revolving door of price. It's an order imbalance. It's unfair. Balance is the middle, unbalance is the edge. What the fuck? You see this? Was there a stop that somebody had there? Fuck yeah, you buy their stop. Is this really that hard? I just feel like I just spent all this time talking to this guy. He's like, yeah. And then he's like, I thought he was kidding me. Coming back with, well, have you ever studied Al Brooks? Of course, Al Brooks. I mean, he's trading the market. He was a surgeon. He's trading price action. Another thing, price action. If you don't have an order for that kind of price action, what does it fucking matter? If you don't have a trade plan, whether you're buying on stops, limits at the market, buying on the clock as the market drops, you're scaling into something, you're going on a campaign like Wyckoff, and you're building a position, then it hits your target, you dump all, you close out, you come back in. That's what it's about. You have to execute trades. You can't talk about, if you're a trader, you don't really talk about the market too much. You talk about, okay, are we going to make, okay, so I wrote another thing. At least this guy got me into writing again, so I have this a hard copy. Good old fashioned, I had to use a crayon on this because I was so pissed off. I just grabbed the nearest thing around. Okay, this is a good question. Now, I would love to show people how to trade, but I have to get you past the bullshit. And I want to take some just non-traders, because a lot of people are just, they're brainwashed. They're brainwashed by every course they've taken, every shrink that's told them, you really shouldn't. Yeah, you know what? It's okay to be a procrastinator, because you're going to, I just finally heard that debunked. Procrastination's bad. I've been doing it my whole life. I do what needs to be done. Right? You put out the fire that's in front of you. You do know what needs to be done. You don't do stuff because all the shoulds in life, right? You're your own individual. You know the checklist. You know when you're fucking up, when you're broke, when your account's blown up. When you're doing something right and you're like, I'm doing what everybody says you shouldn't do. And that's guess. Or just go for it. So if I was trying to screen somebody to work at a prop house that I designed, or I built a script system, and I send people script systems, but they won't want to run. There's only one guy in France that's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So he's running these drop orders. But of course, you got to get comfortable with this shit. Now, my screening process would be, the first thing I would ask anybody, would you rather make 10 pips or 100 pips? And most people are going to say they'd rather make 100 pips. But what if I told you there's a higher probability you can make 10 pips than 100 pips? And you can make it more often. Are you willing to do what you need to do? Are you willing to put the effort out to make 10 pips? And I'm assuming consistently, right? Or I'm assuming that you know the setups, or you know the order placement for that. Could you have made 10 pips on a scalp today, somewhere in these markets, and have placed the order 20 hours in advance and made money? Fuck yes. Could you have made 15 with a 8 pip stop? Could you have made 20 with a 10 stop? Could you have made yes, you could have done all those things, but you'd have to place all the dominoes on the domino thing before you get the glorious rush of gratification and ego trip of watching all the dominoes tumble. Another thing, can you trade like a real? Can you trade a? Are the retail traders right? Are the confirmation entry guys right? They're right too, but they're right about saying, I'm waiting for, like, they'll actually wait for a retag entry. And are they right on a breakout that's a real breakout? Yes, but how many fake breakouts are there as opposed to real breakouts? Well, there's got to be a lot, because if the market's 80% chop and it's constantly tricking people, as people would paranoidly say about market behavior because they don't know what the fuck, how to trade it. When I first started trading with real money, it was FXCM, and I was trading New Zealand against the dollar. And they kept kicking me out because they kept buying at the market and putting a tight stop in. And then I got the idea one time. I said, you know what? Fuck them. I'm going to put my buy limit right at the lowest low of the day. And sure enough, they came down, they filled it. I literally did not have any fucking, oh, here comes 5 p.m. Now here comes the rollover. The whole Forex market is going to roll over on a dime right fucking now. Watch this. It's another thing. People aren't willing to trade scalp on the 5-minute window before and after the market. The spreads go wide here. We get high drama. And so there's another thing this guy said, well, there's illiquidity. I'm watching value. Fuck value. Fuck market profile. Fuck it all. It's an auction market. It's always X-rated, but I'm just so over it. Like, I just can't. I'm ready to just bail. I mean, I'm trying to convince people. And the reason why, and people say, well, why do you care? Well, if you're going to talk to me about the market, we got to be on the same page. I cannot talk to you about the market when you still believe in that like, I can't talk to you about the weather. You still think that the rain fairies are making it rain or rain dancers are making it rain today. And you're like, if there just weren't so many damn rain dancers out there, that's like you telling me if there weren't so many retail traders or high frequency traders out there, I could make money. It's a fucking loser excuse. Can't we just be honest with ourselves? Why are we losing? If you're losing, why are you losing? Because you're trading so big you blew up the account. That's one reason. You didn't put a stop in. And another thing, I just watched this great video where this very young disciple of the this guy named Charles, a very young disciple of the Trade Empowered rig, he gets it. He says, listen, man, pick your stop, right? I mean, he actually says stop something entry, and take profit. But you want to backward engineer that? You want to say, if I was you also want to backward engineer it. Like, if I was short, where would I want to take my profit? And that may be the revolving door for you to go the other direction. And so if you're looking to make 20 pips, with a 10 pip stop, you need to forget about Fibonacci. You need to take your fib tool and turn it into a 10 pip stop to make 20 pips and drag it around the screen and ask yourself, as you look back on the chart, where could I have placed this to make that money? And that's going to tell you where you're going to place it in the future. I hope you can see that right here on all of these bars I drawn, these are every one of these is a trade plan. A buy limit here to make 20 pips. Does that make any fucking sense? And actually, the exit is already predefined for you. You're going to get out here. If you buy any of these handles, where do you get out, people? Can I get a show of hands? You get out of something here. I'm trading the shit out of this account right now. I've traded so big, I can't place another order. But I'm trying to demonstrate it's about execution, order placement, and that whole thing. The terrain, the landscape of the market dictates your order placement, not Fibonacci. It's the planet you've landed on called Planet Forex. Okay? And you have to abide by the rules of Planet Forex or they're going to put you in jail. So you got to realize you cannot have a bag of tricks. There is no fucking way. Think about it. If you were a surgeon and you made a living grafting tissue on people, if you were a plastic surgeon, do you have a mold for the perfect chick? No, because if you whip that Fibonacci mold out, you say, well, and a lot of people realize that there's a width to eye to lip ratio that makes somebody look hot or not. If you throw that on everybody, you're going to have to redesign their whole fucking head to fit that. There is no you say the person comes in, and you have to go with the terrain of their fucking head. You build around what they got. You can't turn I don't know what the old saying is, you can't turn a pig's foot into a purse or some shit. You're trying to do that with a Gartley. Sure, there's a Gartley there somewhere. And I mean, obvious, the whole point of the Gartley is to reduce your risk and increase your profits. It's about placing multiple orders. You also cannot, unless you have a very sophisticated, and I haven't gone that far yet because it's hard to even describe, I guess, what I'm doing. It's so outside the realm of people's what they've been taught. Most people are taught you get in one trade and you get out. Do you really think that these professional traders aren't diversified, scaling into the euro across 3 other currencies across the euro? Sure, they're not making as much money, but they're not blowing the fucking account up. Do tops become bottoms and bottoms become tops? Fuck yes. I just don't get this whole reliance and this whole mysticism. But this is this is pop culture shit. Da Vinci Code. Look. Yeah, Jesus is flipping me off at the Last Supper. I want what you're taking. Whatever drug you're on, double. Can I get a double hit? But I'm not going to trade on that drug. That's for after hours. Is there a double bottom at the round handle here? I think we went through this yesterday. And I will rip apart this other guy, and it's not this guy who's he's just got so many. He said, "Don't use indicators." I love that. Don't use indicators. What does he have on the next panel? 20 fucking indicators. Are you kidding me? What's better? Like, I look at it this way. Draw a trend line. This is the trend line to break. This is the trend line that the bears are feeding off of. When's the feeding frenzy over? When's the party over, people? Is this too quick of a move down? And who got... now, I know exactly what happened here because I traded this whole thing today. At this point of the day, here comes the minimum bid on the euro. They bid it up. Right? They bid into these, they come into these things, it's up, down, up, down, up, down. Are there people that go short? Can I just ask anybody if they can see this? Where were the bears, when people went short today, where did they put their stops? They put them here, 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 here. Where were your buy limits? I mean, your sell limits need to be where their sell stops are because they're trying to protect their profits from this down move. They come back up. They smack them in the face. You've got limits set because of these two tops. Also, you have reasons to place orders there. It's also almost like resistance. Is anybody... Are people overcomplicating this shit? That's why I created the channel called The Simpleton. And I was having an argument with some bozo about... He's like, well, you know that... I'm like, dude... And he goes, you really are a simpleton. Yeah, because I'm asking questions that's rattling your cage, because when you look back, you're going to find out you can't answer that question, and he did not answer that question. You put direct questions to these people, and they go off on a tangent. Hey, did you ever hear about that show called, you didn't answer my question. I hate to sound like Stephen Molyneux interviewing some poor son of a bitch that's been led by his penis into some hot, what do they call them? Hot mess of a bitch. But, you know, I'm not helping. And then he said to me, well, you know, people just aren't... I'm not sure he's getting it. Like, we're all not getting it. We're all waking up. If we live long enough, we're all in the process of waking up about something going, you know, I used to think that, and I was fucking wrong. Now, to admit you're wrong... and or just be wrong, or just think like imagine you had a hotkey keyboard that somebody programmed for you, and every time you bought it sold and you're making money, you're like, fuck, at the end of the day, and you can't even see the orders on the screen, and you can't see the balance of the account. You can't see what's going on under the hood, but you're getting somewhere and you're actually going the wrong way. What would that be like? And when you were done with that experiment, somebody told you just made so much fucking money doing the wrong shit, and they're like, oh, well, how can I replicate that? Do I have to leave it rigged up backwards now? Another thing, on this 1 hour chart, people, please, is this a doji? Are these two dojis? Is this bottom become a bottom for this move? Does this bottom become the timed tempo kick drum bottom? Is it an equal cycle length? And if you bear with me, I'm going to take you to Mother Nature and show you the same fucking thing. And I'm going to ask you point blank, do you have a trade plan for Mother Nature? If you believe fibs are Mother Nature, this is really the market's making its own structures, and they're not fibs. They're unique. They're like snowflakes. What we do know is the market has a velocity move. Could it bounce? Should it bounce? Are we in? Are we in too big? Do we have a backup plan? Now let's take a look at the real world. There was an album by Yes called Tales of Topographic Oceans. Now this is topography. Do these look like anything familiar to anybody? Like, right? Does this look like a chart? Is this tradable? Would you want to buy low, sell high? This is a cross section of topography. So in market profile, this is it, right? I hope I'm zoomed in big enough to see this. But do we run buy stops on top here to get picked up to make the climax move at resistance? Does nature have support and resistance built into it? This is the cross section of the aerial view of the market. So market profile is taking prices as they exist in a flat world, and you're turning it sideways and you're cutting into it. Does it matter in some regard? It could. Are these pip handle? Is that 50 pips? It could be. You're looking into a rabbit hole, and it's a house of mirrors. Would you go into a house of mirrors with a Fibonacci tool? Do you want to lose your mind? Do you want to sell the Baker Hill or the Abe Hill? This stuff really exists. Let me see if I can find a top become a bottom in Mother Nature. I didn't rehearse this, so I may have a little hard time finding that. Let me get rid of this fucking clock here. I just can't take it, man. I feel like I want to jump out the window from the anxiety of people trying to make stuff fit what they think. Here's an example. How about this? Does this qualify? We open the market here. We go up. And where does the market close? It closes where it's open. Vertical exaggeration. Is this unfair? Do we want to buy here? Do we want to sell up here? How do we get in? Do we run sell stops underneath and ride it back to fair value? Do we buy the stop hunt? Notice the retest here and slightly lower and then back up. Do we see that in the Forex market? Do we see a retest? Because the topography is there. Do you have a trade plan for it? Would you place sell limits up here and ride it back? That's the question. That's the work. Do we run buy stops here and patiently wait to get picked up, or do we buy every segment and build a position for maybe not the greatest trade in the world? Do we buy this whole plunge? Buy, because we know that this could happen. Yes. If the stops are properly, if the money management's right, it doesn't matter whether we're right or wrong. We're getting stopped out. You can overtrade anything. Like I said, you can know the direction of the market and not make any money because you got too tight a stop and you're like, I knew that thing was going. Has anybody done that trade? I knew where the market was going. They kicked me out. Those fuckers. Those high-frequency traders. I know they saw my stop. This is the big paranoid. If you've done too much cocaine, you could be stuck on this page of thinking the world's out to get you. I got a buddy like that. I'm telling you right now. He thinks he gets a cold because they're spraying cold bugs, so you buy cold medicine. I'm dropping these people off my friends list. I can't hang like that no more. I never hung like that. When I read Ayn Rand, I said, oh my God, somebody that can think. Somebody that asks the core question, how do you know what you know? What's your epistemology? How do you know that's true? Well, I learned it from this guy who's making a bunch of money trading. Great. Go with him. Leave me alone. Another thing, let me try to see if I can go to more examples here. Seems like I got sidetracked as usual. Okay, is our Fibonacci ratios in here? Does this look like a moving average? Can we trade this? These are elevations, people. Does this look like a breakout in the news? This is Mother Nature. Does somebody have a formula here? Yeah. Wouldn't you love the market to do this? It doesn't. This is probably the, whatever. Does this look like stochastics? Of course. My point being is that I could get out a fib tool, and I was trying to get these images to end up in the back of MetaTrader, literally break out a fib tool. But I'm just going to ask you, just for the sake of what, I don't even know what this fucking data is. Do tops becomes bottoms in this data? Does this bottom become a top? Does this bottom become a top? Does this bottom become a top? Is this trending down? Is this the moving average? Yes. Is the MACD saying buy here? I don't even know what this fucking data is, but I know I want to buy here. I don't want to sell here. I can see this is the trap. This is just elevations of feet. This is Mother Nature. This is the terrain. This is landscape. Your delta hand, the market's creating its own landscape, just like potholes on a road. When the truck goes down it, the potholes are designed, and maybe they're Fibonacci holes. I'm sure if you broke out a fib tool, you could say, look at the golden ratio of the truckers, and of course shit has a golden ratio. It has other ratios that you're blind to because you're paying so much attention to the golden ratio. Does this top become a bottom? Have we seen this set up in the market before? Is this a good place to place a buy limit? Is this a good place? Yeah, because it's a narrow thing. The trend says we're up. Is this any different? Is this lagging here? Is this spiking down and whipsawing your perfect idealized fib thing? Yes, you're fucked. Should we buy now? Yes. The question is, what do we do now? So I said to this guy, can you see the 5-minute chart? No. It's really frustrating when you've been trading so long and somebody wants to talk market and they don't have a chart in front of them. And I'm assuming he trades on a chart. Okay, that's tough. And I could go on and on through everything here, and it's really only makes the point more clear that the premise of Fibonacci is supposed to be that the market's a natural phenomena, and you're going to try to use that in your analysis. Okay? Here's another example. Oh, great. Well, you can kind of see here, right? I can't zoom in apparently, but I think it's apparent that this is support. It never came back to that. Is this a triangle forming? 8-hour challenge. I don't even know what this is. This is obviously been extracted. You've taken data from Mother Nature and you've tracked it. Could this be moving averages? Why not? Would you want to buy down here? This is a cross-section of the North Ridge technical data. So I get that people want to... I got to buy the euro here right now. I get that people want to do that. Now, why would I buy the euro here? Because it's obvious that you want to buy fair value at this time of night. Okay? You wanted to be long here. I'm already long. I'll buy one more just for good luck. Well, I've overloaded this account. I backed this account down to... I rewrote the scripts on here today too. I thought I was making headway. I was kind of excited. But it's going to be difficult to have any kind of trade partner if we don't agree that one of us is right about we can't have mystics and myths and mysticism. We're trading money. All that matters is, do we make money today? Whether we traded a breakout, a volatility breakout strategy, whether we traded a psycho unfair value limit psycho retrace strategy, on north and south side, I asked this trader, are you good at trading? Are you good at selling? And he said he wasn't originally, but he's getting better. Well, I'm looking for somebody that can sell. I'm looking for a bear, but a bear that I was kind of curious. I guess I have too many brainstorms, right? I was wondering what would it be like if you knew somebody that was good at selling because they're bearish and depressed and they want to blow their brains out, and then you knew somebody that was optimistic and they'd like to buy. And they both traded buy and sell strategies on the same account, and they're actually trading against each other in a way. But if they're good at that trade, then they're able to, and that would be an interesting experience. I don't know if anybody's done it, but this is just a free idea. I'm not charging for this concept. But to see what would happen in that situation, because I'm going to see the fibs from the buy levels, or whatever your mousetrap is. And the other guy is saying, if we're both good traders, and he's a good bear and I'm a good bull, we're going to clean up, right? Because we're going to have a real hedge fund. There's an idea. It's a bottomless pit, but you got to just, I love to meet people, but, I guess if you were a guitarist, you could show me your rig and you could say, you know what, this is what Paul McCartney uses. I'm like, dude, can you play guitar or not? Like, I don't give a fuck about every lesson you've ever taken and every guru you've ever learned under and everybody that's like, well, this guy knows his shit. Do you know your shit? And the market's going to be the ultimate judge. So if fib tools work, then trade them. But the problem is that I've never seen anybody say, yeah, it works. I've got the trade plan. I've got the button. The alarm goes on. I hit it. Boom. It makes money all the time. It wins 80%. It should win 80% of the time. If that was true, you should be winning 80% hit rate. What's more important? So basically right now, and look how the sellers came in there. You see how they trapped these people? And I wasn't going to trade this. This is a 5-minute, but can you see how fast you can learn on the 5-minute chart? Did we know this was resistance up here? Did we know that as soon as that broke out, the retail or the losing trader, it doesn't matter retail. This fucking retail shit doesn't matter. Retail people can clean up. They're actually the ones that have the best possibility to clean up. They can trade with higher leverage than do you think that a big house trading firm is going to let some guy trade with a 500 to 1 leverage? Fuck no. These people are just skimming little baby moves out of the market. Their order's not moving the market. The whole in level 2, level 1 on one broker. Another thing. Well, he's trading supposedly in the stock market. He thinks it's like special. There's nothing. This is better. I'm not going to trade stocks, so him and I probably aren't going to be trading together unless he's willing to trade the euro dollar. He goes, I don't trade the euro dollar. Well, then I can't explain the market to you because I'm trading the euro dollar. I'm not going to go look at crude, the ES500. I could show you an ES500 chart, but I can't build a trade script. I'd build MetaTrader trade script. Anybody wants me to build them a script to buy at the market, 38K, with scaled out soft stop, scaled out take profits, Fibonacci profits, for God's sakes. I would do that for you for free. I'd love to see people make money. I've published single drops. I've done this and that. I only want to help people. I don't want to charge for it because if I gotta talk you down off the cliff of paranoia about when I first met the guy, he's telling me, brokers trading against you. Well, they are at Hard Forex. They're forcing you to put your buy stops in 3 pips away from current price. That's when the light bulb's got to go off in your head and say, maybe I should put a buy limit 3 pips deep and get a better price because it's a buy low, sell high game. You need to design yourself around the terrain of the planet you've landed on. You can't fix stupid. You can't fix, and besides, if you don't think, and he's trading on stops on the stock market. He's not buying at the market for the best price possible. He's not buying on limits. He's doing retail trading stuff. He's buying on stops. As soon as people tell me that, I go, I know exactly what you're thinking. You've been learned from a confirmation trader. You can't wait for confirmation in these markets. I had a guy email me last year. Hey, we'd like you to talk to... I ripped this guy apart. I go, you're an idiot. Okay? I don't give a fuck if I have any trader friends. I don't give a fuck if people get it. It's for me. I do the video for me. If I don't vent, I'm going to buy a dog and kick it. I just know myself. It is a fucking riot trading this shit. And it's a riot, like buying low and selling high. You can't pick a top, you can't pick a bottom. I did it last night. I told people the secret sauce of where to put their fucking order in. Most people aren't going to do it. They cannot believe it because their belief system does not cover that. Is this the top? Could your sell limit on this double top? On the 5 minute, there's a triple top. You see why closing prices is better? Does that look like a double top to you, or is it just me? Do you need to backtest that? No. Is this a top? Yes. Should your sell limits have been in this trap? Yes. Hand placed. Could you have pressed a button if you had a pre-programmed thing and you knew how many pips north you were at this point of the game today? When the market... I'm so pissed this fucking recorder didn't... I have to add, this has to be part 2. Did anybody ask themselves today, is this a good place to buy down here? I can't take it, man. I just can't take it. So, and I guess I don't see how... I've lost my whole train of thought because I went to click something and I hit done, and this bullshit, you can't even go edit this fucking shit. So, this is part 2. I don't even know what to say. So it's apparently just it's too complicated. People are projecting their belief systems on these markets, all the crap they've ever learned in their fucking life, every fear they have, they're putting it in these markets. Is it screwing them up? Very much so. There's so many misconceptions about what's really going on here. And people need a reason. They want a reason for something to happen. Well, it couldn't just be because it was done going down. It's like Occam's razor. Well, they couldn't have just killed President Kennedy because somebody wanted to kill him. No, there had to be a grand conspiracy. So this is conspiracy. You know what I'm saying. It's sloppy thinking. It's bad epistemology. I'm on the 5 minute chart. Did this bottom become a top? Yes. Did sellers come in? Yes. Could you have sold? Yes. Did this market come down here into this trap? Could you actually say that the dream of the bears was to keep going down this line? Is the dream over? Yes. Deal with it, people. The dream's over. So, should we be buying here? Yes, I'm buying here. Now, man, I've watched so many videos. If somebody asks me, I've almost heard of everybody out there. Do you know this guy? Do you know... What does it matter? Do you know yourself is what I'm asking. Do you know what's fucking you up? Do you know why you're not making... Why it's... I can tell you why a lot of people aren't making money. Is did they have the opportunity to take advantage of some of the stuff in this market? Now, if you place these orders in advance today, you could have scalped, but you would have had to been there to reload, say, for instance, this obvious trade. And the point I was trying to make to this guy, I asked him, can you see the 5 minute chart? And what I wanted to point out to him is that, what do you think made the market go up after it reached this area? Because it's support. And it went just a little bit lower. And why do the sellers come in when we breach this? Because they're trapping these people to take it back to the fair value. So in and out of fair value. It's not that people can't see that. It's can they adjust their stop to make money from that? Do you have a 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 16 pip stops available at the push of a button? This is where the work is. And what I'm trying to do here is build a scalping system, because the guy said he was a scalper. I'm like, let's build this, right? But maybe if you have a day job, you should think about these trades. Placing a labyrinth of orders. And I'm only assuming that most people are lazy like me, that they want to trade, like, or in other words, if you want to make money right now, right here, right now, you're going to be on the 5-minute chart. Now, if you go to the daily chart, there's no doubt. There are trades on the daily chart. But there's no, it's a low-frequency trading system. Another problem I have is this speak about high-frequency traders. You mean to tell me a low-frequency trader can't make more money than a high-frequency trader that doesn't know what the fuck he's doing? Of course. A low-frequency trader is going to trade setups like this. Now, for anybody that doesn't want to get drilled down into these insane time frames, which some people, they can't look at all that zigzag shit. Hurt their brain. Was there an opportunity here today to buy a just a good old top? They wouldn't have filled you. If you had a buy limit on this top, they wouldn't have filled you. Could you have sold this bottom today? Today only. Was this always going to be a good place? Is it the round number? Could you had sell limits up there? Could you had a realization that these wicks needed sell limits? Here you didn't get filled. Here you had a sell limit based on this. You had a sell limit based on this 10 pip window. You also had a sell limit here and here. They come up like a zipper. You put a master stop here. They come up. They don't fill everything. They come back. How'd you do on that trade? Wonderful. Is this the retest doji hammer? Is this what's causing this bounce? Yes. Is there a trend line here we can draw? Are we finding support at the... We are in an uptrend now. We're in a confirmed uptrend. It's been pre-established. We're on the planet Forex. There's nothing we can do about this. This has been predefined. Is this the downtrend line? Yes. Is there anything we can do about it? No. Does this look anything like the setup I pointed out on the British pound last week? Breakout, find support, blah, blah, blah. Could we possibly, could this possibly be a launching pad if you're an Elliottician? One, this is zero wave. 1, 2, 3 is the biggest. Pull back to the top of wave 1. Does this coincide with the momentum rollover theory? Yes. It's all coming together. There's only one trade a week on the daily. You have all your sights set on that. You have all your pending orders set on that one critical pivot rollover, all the stars align entry. So it was kind of frustrating, and I apologize for using the F word, but I can't take it's no much more, because I'm just eternally befuddled and flummoxed by the utter adoption of mythology in the markets. I mean, I've heard it all. I'm not a good book reader. I read every technical book. I read, you name it, Ing. Name an author. I'm telling you, I have $2,000 of trading books. Okay? I've seen it all. Renko, equal volume. I could put there's 20 platforms to plot the Forex market. Do you realize that? If you trade in the States, brokers, there's an app for that. You know that joke, there's an app for that? But there's no app for your personality is unique. If you do not, what I'm saying here is, like Stefan Malin does the truth about, this is the truth about prices. That when they get to an extreme level, somebody's coming in. The bottom pickers. When something goes on sale, do a lot of people show up to buy it? Does that fuel? Does that create an order imbalance? Are they back ordered now? Yes. Is there a rush hour in the market? Yes. Is there a pause, a doldrum, a lull in the market? Yes. The idea is to think about what strategy to run. Another thing this kid said, this Charles disciple says, do you have a trade plan that you've tested and everything like that? The thing about that is that that trade plan only works under those certain conditions. You have to step aside. Unless you have a trade plan for the other weather conditions, do not go in the fucking market. You might have built a trade plan. You might have built a car that can drive through a tornado, but maybe it's too heavy to drive every day. The mileage is bad. That thing pays off when there's a tornado. How often is there a tornado? How often does the market go 1,000 pips? My other question here, now I've totally sidetracked, but I'm going to splice it to the other fucking video because of my lousy... I'll even put bumper music in between so you can take an intermission break. But this is my checklist for people. And it just started to jump out of my head because this guy, I like this guy a lot. I'm not saying I don't like this person I talk to. It's just that I feel like I'm talking to somebody that's been indoctrinated and they think rain dances really make it rain. So it may be tough to deprogram them. It takes longer to deprogram somebody than it is to program. Join the cult with open arms and hope springs eternal. And then we have to deprogram you and tell you, no, there are no such thing as little green men. So the other question I would ask somebody is point blank, how long are you willing to wait to make the 10 or the 100 pips? I think it's probably safe to say it's going to take longer to make 100 pips than 10. The next question I would ask them is that, because he said to me, I would ask somebody, do you care what other traders are doing? Does it matter to you who's involved in these trades? What if it's a bunch of banksters? What if you're trading amongst these guys? What if they're creating liquidity for you? Is it immoral for you? Because you hate banksters, right? You're one of these liberal children that sit out at these Occupy Wall Street. That's where all the money's at, pumpkin. If that's where the money's at, how come you're not trading the currency markets? Are you going to piss and moan like a little girl? You're going to, like a little sissy, go, oh, you know, I can't. I just watched, I'm a subscriber to Bill Whittle. You know, like, yeah, get your shit together. He tells this guy who writes him email, dude, grow up here. In fact, why don't you rub sandpaper on your nuts just to get used to what's going to come to you next? Toughen up. Are you trading against somebody? Are you trading with somebody? Are you trading against do you resent the bankers? Are you trading against the bankers? Is your motivation to trade or are you trading with them because that's where the big money's going? Where's the smart money? This is another one this still pisses me off to this day. What's the smart money doing? The smart money's doing, hopefully what I'm doing is finding ways to execute trades to trade what is painfully obvious in the market. And it's work. Are you, if and I'm assuming the premise when people type, you know, you have to, I just hate typing. That's why I do these videos. And I just can't argue with you and prove you wrong by typing to you because it's a slippery, you have to do Stefan Malin and just say, listen to the question. And I understand people have spent a lot of time and money with mentors and stuff like that and all this shit. And he's also saying, well, you know, that's what the mentors tell the people to put their stops. And, you know, sometimes, I make fun of Stapleton. Sometimes they're right. Akel Stokes had a great entry. It was a breakout trade he used to do before he got caught up in all this mysticism with Garleys, and crab wings and bat wings and doilies. And so he had a great trade there. And, it was a money management question the guy had. Like, so did you get out of the thing or what? Hey, listen, nobody's going to, if you realize you can get back in, if execution isn't a problem for you, you're probably going to get out because you realize you can get right back in. If you felt like, I put a lot of work into this trade my tequila buddy said one time, he goes, I put a lot of work into that trade and they stopped me out. The market doesn't know you spent a lot of work. The market doesn't know you exist. The market isn't looking out for you. It doesn't care how much effort you put into this entry. It is completely existing. You don't even have to trade it. Like I said last night, money in your account is money in the bank unless you have a trade plan. Just let the money build up. Throw $50 in a week. When you think you got an idea, place an order. Get used to seeing the fear when the market's pressing down. I got another friend who's got this thing called Pit View. And he can see what the big banks are doing, right? The big funds. But guess what? As they're buying into that plunge, the market's still plunging. But they've got a lot of dry powder. And I'm like, I'm doing what they're doing. Any logical person is going to buy weakness and sell strength. It's how do you do it? Do you layer, scale? Do you get in too big? Are your stops too tight? This is what separates the winners from the losers. Can you be right about the direction and get stopped out and go, wow, dude, if I only would have had more money or wider stops. And this is the argument that this guy was making. He says $200 isn't enough to trade, but he was able to make it to $800. So how did you get to $800? And what was it? Your whimsical trading? Keep doing that. I never made more money in my life when I was trading under the mentorship of a guy named Jake Bernstein, and I was trading through Jack Carl 321 futures out of Chicago. I had $5,000 in my trading account. There was also another guy working there that had wrote a book on stochastics, and he wrote a book on the stochastics pop. Okay. These guys were losing money, and so I looked at my 286 computer and I printed out the histogram of MACD, and I said, or it was a histogram of something, and I said, God, look at, if I would have just got here on this oscillator and got out there, I would have made money on hogs. So I started to make my own calls, and guess what? I was making money. You know what they told me? Are you sure you want to do that? We got a hog report that says, and seasonally, this market's supposed to turn around, which is a fundamental in my opinion. I'm making money. And then when I moved my account out, they got all pissed off when I moved my account. And then I had extra money, and I was going to move some back, and the guy said, absolutely not, you're a complete asshole. I go, well, I knew that, but don't you want my business? No. And I never put it in their face. I never shoved it in their face and said, look, and I'm trading using my oscillators, and I'm blowing you out of the water. I never said they were full of shit. But they had an agenda for their whatever. And Jake Bernstein lost his ass trading. And it wasn't because he got the seasonals wrong. It's because he probably traded too big, or he didn't trade when he should, or he didn't. If you're going to babysit the market and that's how you make money, I know a guy who trades, and he trades the Asian session. He makes money because he knows, hey, I like to trade when things are quiet. I don't want to be in there when the news and everything's rocketing up and down. He doesn't have a trade plan for that. So, that's how I'm looking at it. Like right now, can the euro drift up 20 pips tonight? Probably good chance. Are people buying right now based on all the news that came out, and you're going to say, well, it went up? What people are going to say now is the market's going up because the jobs report was X, the crude oil report was X, the minimum bid on euro is X, and it's all put together, and everybody agrees that, you know what? Euro's not so bad after all. No. We ran out of sellers. That's why it's going up. Simple order imbalance. Just because you did a rain dance didn't make it rain. Just because you got a fib tool that lined up one day didn't make fibs work. I am so sorry to tell you that. And I know it's a big heartbreaker. And if you look back here, proof's in the pudding that what matters more than anything is price. I'm going to refix the scale and then I'll let you go on your way. After just coming unwrapped. Look at this stuff here. How many times have we seen this? A bottom becomes a top, and people make a pant load, and it comes down into that wick window, which correlates to that. You got a stop of 30 pips, and you made how many? I made 500 pips. I made 400 pips. You should have loaded up bigger there, puppy. Can anybody see the next window of opportunity could be maybe buy limits here? Are we going to come there tomorrow? Probably not. Is it fizzling out and getting accumulation issues? Yes. Is this accumulation between 100 pips? Does a 100 pip handle mean anything? Is this a double tip at the 100 double top at the 100 handle? Is this a battle at the 100? Fuck Fibonacci all the way to Tuesday. You see the dojis are forming at the round. Come on, people. Step away from the fib tool. Is this a bottom at the round handle? What's more important, Fibonacci or prices? I am so sorry to tell you, this is a round number up here. It's called $1.12. If you bought here and sold here, you just made 100 pips. If you sold here and bought here, you made 100 pips. Does it matter where the fucking 50 period moving average is? No. Is 50 period moving average technical analysis? It is for morons. These are auction markets. I will publish it once more again. You want to buy this wick window for this move. You want to sell this wick window for this move. That's it. Buy more now. If you're trading the euro right now, of course, by the time you read this, or even if you probably turn it off because I've sworn too much. I was at a party once, and I got excited, and I started swearing. And this girl says to me, "My mom's here. Don't use your potty mouth." I'm like, I gotta fucking go. Bye. I don't need to be at your fucking stupid party. Okay? I'm angry. I've had it. Bye. And when I say buy, I don't mean buy the market. But yeah, I'm buying here, right? So we're buying here. Why are we buying here? Because we're at this. We just ricocheted off this top. The trend line to break. I'm always thinking, what is the trend line to break? Is this a wedge? Does this have anything to do with how many people are participating in here? And how? No. We buy support. We sell resistance until eventually this thing's going to break. Are we going to trade sideways forever? No. Is that... Could you show a 6-year-old... If you can't show a 10-year-old how to trade, your system's way too complicated. And it's called mental masturbation. And you're doing it with Gartleys. You're in a room with hot Gartleys. Does anybody see this? God damn. Okay, so I gotta go get something to eat. And I hope I said my piece. I hope it makes sense. I hope you can see that you have to unlearn everything you've learned your whole fucking life in every category of life. You gotta follow your heart. You gotta follow your logic. You gotta follow what you know to make sense. You can't exist in a world of fairy tales unless you're working at Disney and you're making money because you know your audience. This, unfortunately, is this geometry does work. Did we want to buy at this triple top becoming a bottom? Yes. If you weren't in front of the monitor for that trade, you had a trolling, and this what I'm trying to write is trolling orders to get picked up on these painfully obvious moves that are so, when you look back, you say, God, why didn't I put an order there? Or why didn't I babysit this puppy? Or why didn't I have an alarm there? Price alarms. The problem with price alarms is one thing I noticed when I first started at FXCM is that if you placed a buy limit down here, and maybe it's still like this, if I put a buy limit down here on this top, if that filled, it would go bing, FXCM platform. And I thought to myself, this is 6 years ago I had this thought. Guess what? My entry is the alarm. I know I got filled. I hear that and I go, oh yeah. It's like you put out a bug zapper. Okay? We're not just catching a big bug. We're not trying to buy an elephant and resell it at a higher price. We're trying to pick up all the little bugs. All the noise. Accumulation. We want to be the market maker. We want to accumulate and distribute. We are a big boy. Take off your panties. We're big. We're men. You trade like a man. You front run the market. You put your orders in at support and resistance. You don't know if that's the support, but you have a pretty good idea. Even Jason Stapleton says look left. The only gripe I have with those guys is candlesticks. Almost worse than Fibonacci. Bias. Terrible. What if you fall in love with it? What if you really are gay? And you're like, I was on a date with this, so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to Michael Savage. Somebody published on YouTube. Michael Savage, and this caller calls in. This guy calls in, a real dude, and he says, "I had a gay experience," and then he tells Michael why it was good, because he goes, "These guys understand how I think. They're a guy." I'm like, duh. So, and then Michael says, "I think maybe you're gay." He goes, "I don't think I am." I goes, "I just don't think I want the drama of some psycho babe that I have to guess whether I have to read between the lines with her." And obviously, he just wants to be with somebody. And I had a gay guy say to me once, "It's all skin." Like skin, right? You're with somebody. I couldn't be with a guy. It's just too weird. You'd have to be. I don't care if they're your last human on the planet. We're not gonna spoon. You're creeping me out. But if you're into that, if you're a trend trader or if you're a range trader, don't be in denial. Go with it. If you're trading fib tools, go with it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, you're fooling yourself. And the whole point of the Gartley is this, in a nutshell. This should be your X. This should be your B. This is your D. You get a second D, though. The idea here is that you're risking less to make more. Okay. I may have missed a few points there, but I'm sure that unfortunately I'm either preaching to the choir or I'm pissing people off. It's one or the other.